Hello. I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while now because I yap too much about my job to my friends, coworkers, and my family, and I need someone else to talk about this with. So I figured, why not the entirety of the internet? So we'll see how this goes. But to start off, I'm an intern here at an observatory. I work in the archives department, as you can see. I am an archivist catalog assistant. I've been here for about over a year now, working on a different project. And then 2-3 months ago, I was hired on a different contract to work on another project, which I'm going to talk about today. So I'm working on contracts, by the way. I'm a paid intern, just graduated last spring with a degree in history, minor museum studies. So this is like a dream job to get right off of graduation, which is awesome. Without further ado, come listen to the saga of my project. So my project is working with astronomical glass plates. We acquired them from Dr. Elizabeth Romer shortly after her death in 2016, and she was a really well-known astronomer in the 1960s to 1980s, and she was really ahead of her time, especially in a woman in a male-dominated field, right? And a well-known advocate for gender equality. So she was amazing. And so we acquired her collection in 2016. However, because our department is so small, there's only 2 full-time staff, my boss and coworker, and sadly the reality is there's not a lot of manpower to get to everything. So my project main objective is with these plates is to rehouse them. They are currently in see these boxes. They are what they were carried in and donated in 2016. And as you can see, they're just regular old cardboard boxes, nothing special with them. And that can actually harm the plates as well as the folders they came in. So the folders, I have an example here. They're from 1970, or this one's 1969. But a lot of them are from 1970, 1980, which at the time were all they had and all which worked well. However, long-term holdment in these type of materials, as in the folder and boxes, have acid that could destroy or harm the glass plates over time. So my job is to put them in new folders that are acid-free, archival, modern type folders. So here's an example of the folder, and this one already has the glass plate in that I put in, as well as the box. So here's the box, and this one I refilled it up with the different plates I was organizing, but they also have custom divisors, because as well as we also countered is the boxes. We don't know who actually put them in the boxes. I think, if I vaguely remember, was another astronomer here at the observatory, but they did not do a very good job at organizing them or how to store them, because they're all kind of shoved in together. I think that at least each box has 200 plates. Not good long-term wise either. So we need to carefully put them in a box, and each divider has at least 3 plates. So that means that instead of 25 cardboard boxes, there's going to be at least 300, maybe 400 archival boxes. So that's going to be a big project. But it doesn't stop there, because for us archival nerds, my supervisor had also asked me to create a spreadsheet where I will be transcribing and documenting all the data that was on the folder, the original folder, as well as looking through Dr. Romer's original logbook, which we have on hand, and where she took very detailed notes of every single plate she ever created and her original data. And we have, I think, 10 of these. So they're very helpful for my spreadsheet. So my first step in the project was to determine what I was going to do, because my supervisor, so it goes my coworker, my boss, and her supervisor, which is technically my supervisor, and he isn't an archivist, he's an astronomer. So all he really asked me is to create the spreadsheet and rehouse them, and he's like, I'll leave the rest to you, because he doesn't really know much about the archival world. So my first step was to, of course, go through the boxes, and to my horror, when I first looked at them, they're a disaster. They're not organized by the number system they have on each folder. They're shoved together, right? And going through all the boxes, I determined that Elizabeth Romer worked for 4 telescopes in this collection: a 61-inch, 90-inch, 20-inch, and a 13-inch. And for each telescope she used, she had a different number system for them. So the 60-inch, it goes from M1 to M, I think 2000. And then 90-inch is it's S1 to, I think, S 1000 something. And then the 13-inch is L1 to L30. So, it's, each telescope has a different numbering system. So I determined that I'll just categorize the plates into the new boxes by telescope. So I'm currently working with only the 61-inch collection, the 61-inch portion of the collection, and I'm also organizing them by their number order. So that's also a hassle, going through all the boxes and trying to find all the numbers that I have to put in order, because it's so chaotic. It's so chaotic, and I'm like, why couldn't they try to at least organize it a little bit? But it's okay, right? But it's okay. It's a challenge that I love. So after I go through and organize them, I gather at least 100 at a time. So like 100 to 200, 200 to 300, and so on and so forth. And I transfer them into the new folders, and then I put them in the new boxes in order, and then I start on my spreadsheet. And my spreadsheet, I usually load spreadsheets. So to say that I'm having trouble with this one is really hard for me. But what I'm having the most trouble with is astronomical data and terms and jargon. I don't have that type of background. I've been doing my own research and asking other astronomers for help on certain terms and whatnot, but I just have to, this is also something I've been pulling my supervisor in a lot to create the spreadsheet. I was what's important for the spreadsheet, because he wants to use the spreadsheet as a guide. So when he scans the plates so they can be digitized, that all the information's on the spreadsheet, right? So he doesn't have to go through the logbook and the folders. It's just all there for him. But I just don't know much of the jargon, so I've been having a little trouble with that, especially with, so in her logbooks, Dr. Romer has a remarks section where she writes either about the weather or certain notable something about the certain comet or star that she was looking at the moment, right? But another thing about Dr. Romer that she's really well known for is her note-taking. My coworker, she worked with Dr. Romer's personal notebooks, where she wrote in very great detail what she did every single day. I think every hour she wrote at least 1 or 2 sentences down of what she did that hour. So she's very meticulous. But something else that a lot of people don't really realize that's kind of hard to do is she writes in beautiful cursive, but so small. She writes so small, where when I'm trying to read her remarks, I don't understand what's happening. I can't decipher what she's trying to say. I just don't have the knowledge to back up an educated guess. So I've been doing my best, and for my remarks part on the spreadsheet where I'm transcribing it, I have a lot of blanks, and I have to put in couldn't decipher a couple words, couldn't decipher this. So my supervisor said that's okay, because he can't always be here to help me with certain terms. Also, he can't determine what the remarks are saying. I ask him sometimes, and he's like, he also can't figure it out. So it makes me feel a little better that even him, who's been an astronomer for so many years, can't determine also. So it's like, okay, makes me feel better. So for a long while, that was my process, going through the boxes, gathering a section of the plates, organizing them, putting them in new folders, new boxes, and starting on the spreadsheet for that section. And it's a good system, I feel, to get all the goals and priorities done. However, it was fairly slow. It was slow, and as someone who's on a time limit, considering my contract ending in like a month and a half, I knew that's not gonna work, so I had to pivot. So about 2 weeks ago, I had like gathered a couple questions I wanted to ask my supervisor, and as I was doing that, I was really thinking, I was like, am I gonna be able to finish this project in time? My contract, which ends in like a month and a half. And I determined, no, I'm not gonna finish in time. So I want to tell him that for sure, because I hate to give him false expectations I'm gonna finish this in time. I'm really not. But I also realized, how is it gonna be for the next person that's gonna come after me, right? If they get another person, because honestly, they were telling me they don't know if or when they're going to get another person, so that's also something to take in consideration. So when I sat down with them to ask my questions, I told them straightforward, I'm not going to be able to finish this project in time with this time limit. I was like, it's just not possible, and he was saying that's okay, and I gave him 2 options. I keep doing what I'm doing, right? I keep going through the plates, the folders, and spreadsheet. However, by the time my contract ends, that means a lot of the plates are going to be left in these cardboard boxes, in these old folders, and the next person, if they get a next person, is also going to have to deal with these chaotic boxes that are also out of order and crazy, and it's just, it's going to start the whole cycle again. I had described and explained to him that I feel continuing the process I'm on, it's just only going to make the next person's job harder, the one who comes after me to finish the project, right? Because they're going to have to, again, go through the boxes, try to reorganize them, try to go to the spreadsheet, transfer them. It's just going to be harder and slower, as I've determined that process is just very slow. And if the next person, again, is also on a time limit, it just might not get done. And another thing we had to consider was the fact that they might not get someone for a very long time. They got me after almost 9 years. So we don't know when the next person is going to be able to come do it, whether a volunteer or intern or another staff member, right? And to take that into consideration means leaving the plates, again, longer in the boxes and folders that are harming them. So I gave another option where I can only focus on rehousing the plates. I can focus on transferring them to the folders, boxes, label them, put them in the shelves, and then start that process again, and forego the spreadsheet for now, because I just feel like that'd be a lot easier for the next person. Also, I recommended for my boss that if they did get another person, maybe get someone that has at least a basic knowledge of astronomy terms and jargon. That way the spreadsheet is a lot easier to go through. And as someone, again, who doesn't have that type of background, I'm nervous when doing the spreadsheet, because this is information that's gonna be used for actual scientific discoveries and research. And if I transcribed some data because I didn't really understand the format it was supposed to be, the term, and it messed everything up, then that's my worst nightmare. So I would rather someone who has strong or at least basic knowledge work on the spreadsheet. So after I explained the 2 options to my supervisor, he told me that you thought it through. He thought, I trust you. You're the one that's been going through the work. You know what works, what doesn't. You pick what you think is the best route to go. And I picked the latter. So this past 2 weeks, that's all I've been doing lately, is working on the plates, rehousing them, organizing them, putting them in the boxes, and I've been going through them pretty fast. I've been going through them really fast. And I was like, great. I was like calculating in my head. I was like, I if I keep going at this route, because I think I was going through at least 200 a day. I was really going at it. Sorry, I'm here alone in this building, and I'm in the repository, which is kind of soundproof, so I can't hear anything, really, and it's a little nervous. It makes me a little nervous considering everyone says this place is haunted. Anyways, I don't think it is, but it's in the back of my mind. Anyways, yeah, so I figured going that rate, I'd make great time and I can finish at the end of my contract. But lo and behold, another problem arose, so I had to pivot again. So the folders I have shown you, like I have stated again and again, they're archival, non-acidic type folders. And these specific folders as well are non-buffered, which means that they're not going to buffer or like rub against the glass plates, which has one emulsion side, one glass, so they're easily peeled and easily cracked and like deteriorated. So they're very important for this project. And about a week ago, I saw that I had like 10 packets left, and each packet has like 150 folders. So I'm going through like 2 packets a day. I was like, this is not, I'm gonna need packets soon. So I went and I told my boss, and we, determined we were gonna need like 200 packets for the rest of the project. And which, by the way, $1,200. I know I'm new to the archival world, but god dang, that's a lot of money. So after we put it through a special website where they sell archival materials and whatnot, right? We saw that they're not going to be shipped out until July 30th. So that meant I knew for a fact that I was going to have a period of time where I'm not going to have any folders to work with. And that time came yesterday, because I used the last folder yesterday. So that means I had to, again, change my route, and I decided that I'm just gonna have to work on the spreadsheet, because one, I kind of need the hours because I need to pay my rent. 2, anything really helps done, because even though, as I said, I'm not very confident in knowing the terms and data, it's better than nothing. That's as my supervisor said. He's like, do the best you can, and he says better than nothing, and he's like, I trust you. It's like, thank you. Gonna make me cry. I digress. Yes, so another thing that I'm thinking of doing is, like, when I'm getting tired of the spreadsheet, is to organize the plates a little bit more, because organizing them is kind of hard in the boxes considering how disorganized they are, and it's easier just to pull them out 100 at a time and like rehouse them rather than moving them within the boxes. And it's best to handle them as little as possible to minimize the risk of them being dropped or broken. So I was like, I don't want to touch them too much, so I was like, I'm going back and forth on that. Maybe if I do get tired of the spreadsheet for like an hour, I'll go through the boxes and just determine again. I don't know yet, but we'll see. It is kind of my fault, I guess, for not saying anything sooner about the folders. In my head, they're like, oh, they'll come at the end of the week. I didn't know they would take a couple weeks, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, you can only do so much and worry about so much. So here's a sneak peek into the archives. This is basically my project. All these boxes that have pink little sticky notes are all my labels and all the one I finish. Oh, they're coming off. Anyways, yeah, so these are all the ones I finished. And I think that's pretty dang good. That's the conclusion to the saga of my project for now. I'll most likely do an update once I do finish it, and I'll let you know how it goes and whether or not I left it in disarray, which would be my worst nightmare, but I'm gonna have to come to accept it might be the reality. Well, thanks for letting me yap. I'll see you next time. 3,000. That time. Well, no. I wish I was short like that right now. Whatever. I'm not talking about that.